Welcome to Witch Talks, the series for spiritual seekers, witches, and enlightened souls. I'm Hannah the Suburban Witch, professional tarot reader, astrologer, and witch, and I hope you're ready to get up close and personal with your favourite witches. Hello, how are you today? I want to share a witchy thing that just happened. I was recording this podcast and River, my magical co-host, kept interrupting me. Now, she does that occasionally. She has a cute meow. I want to show her off sometimes, that's fine. But this was excessive. Now, she's a tortoiseshell. That's not outside her nature. But this was like rubbing her head on the microphone, meowing in my face until I went to stop the recording and realized it was stopped. It wasn't even recording. And then when I went to listen back to where I got up to, my mic wasn't even plugged in. So, River, my dear, you did me such a favor. Thank you. I love you. You're a great co-host. She's got my back. Now, was that magical? I'm going to go with yes, because it's more fun to think that way in life. And I'm recording now and she hasn't made a peep. So I think she was onto something. So for today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to do a cord cutting ritual. Cord cutting is one of those witchy things that everyone has an opinion about. Some think that cord cutting is excessively difficult to do and only a professional witch can do it properly. Others believe it is incredibly beneficial for anyone who wants to do it and relatively easy to do. I fall into this camp. Creating a guide on the process of cord cutting has been one of my most highly requested pieces of content, and so I actually created a video tutorial over on YouTube on how to do it, which I've linked below, and that has now become my most popular piece of video content. P.S. If you want to request a piece of content or simply wish to pick my brain, you can do so via the Suburban Witches Society during our monthly group call. It's always on the first Friday of the month and it alternates between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. so that it's possible for all time zones to get an opportunity to join. So cord cutting is still, even though I've got that very fabulous video on YouTube, it's still a topic I've shied away from discussing in other areas such as blogs, TikToks, Instagram posts, because it has a controversial nature associated to it. But I put on my big girl pants and I posted a blog, and that has also become my most popular blog post. So here we are in the podcast, giving you that information in an audio format as well. In saying this, please remember, you do not have to always agree with me or any other witch. Take what resonates and leave the rest. So let us begin with what is cord cutting. We can often find ourselves through life in an attachment with another person that is no longer beneficial. In fact, sometimes these attachments can be downright bad for us. This person may be pulling you down or making you feel really negative and drained, or you might feel that you cannot move on with your life because they're living rent-free in your head. They may be an abusive or controlling ex, could be a toxic friend, a narcissistic mother, or just someone who doesn't make you feel good to be around. But for some reason, you feel drawn to them or stuck to them and you can't get them out of your mind or your life. Now, cord-cutting ceremonies are not for petty arguments, they are not for everyday disagreements, for revenge, or for teenage drama. Let's just get that out of the way. This ritual should be reserved for relationships that are harming you mentally, physically, or spiritually, as these are the times when a cord cutting ceremony can be really, really beneficial to you. The aim of a cord cutting ceremony is to sever the emotional and energetic attachment that you have to another person in the spiritual realm. Sometimes these cords are strong and we can't always get through it all the first time, and that is okay. You are allowed to do this more than once if necessary. A small note here to say that if this person is placing you in physical danger, you will need to ensure that you have other protections in place, such as restraining orders, a safe place to stay, security cameras, and safety locks on your home. This ritual does not take the place of necessary safety precautions. Now, a cord cutting ceremony or ritual can be very emotional to do as well. This is usually done about a person that you've invested years and years of time and emotions with. It could be a family member, a spouse, lover, longtime friend, and there could be a lot of reasons why this is really, really difficult to do, and that's okay. You could journal your thoughts and emotions, have an emotional support friend with you as you do this. You don't have to do it alone. Take your time, and baby steps are totally okay. Just make sure to do it when you're ready and when you feel safe and like you can truly let go and that this is the right step forward. We do not want to do this ritual during a heated moment of anger or rage, or during the depths of a depressive episode. It is best to choose this ritual when you are feeling emotionally stable. Cord cutting can help you to move on with your life, and it encourages the other person to move on with theirs as well. Now, don't be surprised if you suddenly do not care one bit about what happens to the other person. That can be very shocking for some people if you're not expecting it. We expect them to leave us alone, and we don't expect us to suddenly not react to any of this stuff or the stuff that happens to them. That can be hard to deal with, and something that I don't see enough people talking about. All right, so now we get to the how to do a cord cutting part. There is a couple of different ways that you can go about a cord cutting ceremony. You can do it purely in the mind as a visual representation of what's going to happen, right? Like a visualization. Or you can do it with props. So depending on what sort of person you are, the type of magic you're comfortable doing is going to depend which way calls to you. I'm going to tell you about the one with props first, because that will give you a good idea and then you can make up your mind from there. All right, so the very first one is the candle method. This one gets a very bad rap in the witchy community. Some witches believe because it's been shown in movies and television that means it's wrong. I disagree. Sometimes using a physical representation like this can be incredibly powerful. So don't listen to the haters and just pick the method that feels right to you. Keep in mind as well, a lot of those TV shows we see it on, such as Sabrina the Teenage Witch, not the teenage one, so The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that one. They have occult experts helping them craft some of the things that you see. So just because it's on a TV show doesn't mean it's wrong. Likewise, just because it's on a TV show does not mean it's right. Just putting that out there. So for the candle method, you generally start with 2 candles. Preferably, if you can, find ones that have really long wicks that can be tied together. Alternatively, you can buy twin candles that share the same wick. These are usually hand-dipped candles, so you will need to melt the bottom onto a plate if you don't have a proper candle holder. If you can't find this style of candle, a standard chime candle and some string works just as well. Position the candles on a plate or a tray and tie some twine around them that the flames can burn through as the candles melt. When I say that the candle should be a chime candle, sometimes called a wish candle, that's because these take approximately 2 hours to burn. Bigger does not always mean better. Now, optional. You can carve your name on one candle with a skewer, a knife, something like that, and the other person's name on the other candle. Little note here, I recommend only doing one cord cutting at a time with this method. We're not cutting cords with multiple people. One person, please. You can carve any sigils that you want or have created for that person or for yourself. You could write that you're wanting to be free of any attachment, whatever you believe will put power into it. This can also be added to petition paper burned with the flame of these candles. Now, using a pink candle can be really good for friendship or someone that you really truly love or loved. Red might be good for a sexual relationship or something that was very intense, maybe something you felt was a twin flame or karmic connection. I am not going to be commenting on either of those things here, but if that's how you felt about it, red could be a good choice for you. Blue candles I find very good for family members, and white and black are always standard great options as well. Now, some folks will talk about using chili flakes in candle magic to speed up the process. However, if you do choose to dress your candle with some chili flakes, it can speed this up, but use it sparingly, and do not use chili flakes for abusive relationships, as it can intensify the situation. Okay, that's out of the way. So what you would do is you would start by cleansing yourself and your space. This just gets you clear. Cleansing, basically, I think I need to do a whole one on cleansing, but cleansing gets you back to a baseline, essentially. Now you can tie the two candle wicks together or add your string to connect them, or any other method you have of connecting these two visually, and have them both sitting on their plate or platter. Then you're going to stop, take a few deep breaths, ground your energy, and begin to imagine yourself over one of the candles and the image of the other person over the other candle. You could also use a photograph that you put under the candle, or if you glue a photo of the two of you onto the wick, or placed above or below if you have trouble visualizing, that can be helpful. Underneath the candles works well as well, or leaning against them. So this method is showing you a visual representation of you two together, breaking apart. You will want to allow the candles to burn completely down, burning and breaking through the string if you use it. And it can be very helpful to read the wax afterwards too, as a form of divination. That type of divination is called chiromancy, and it is very helpful for telling you the result of your ceremony or with any candle magic. Chiromancy is a must. If you want to learn how to do that, there's literally 3 days left to sign up to my course, The Art of Psychic Divination. There's a whole module on free-flowing divination with a big lesson on chiromancy as well, which is unfortunately the lesson that I filmed that basically predicted the death of my grandmother using chiromancy. And whilst I was filming, I was trying to do an example, and it ended up being very, very, very real. So very powerful form of divination. Okay, so that's method 1, the candle method. Then we have the string method. This method is relatively similar to the candle method, but simply uses a string on its own. Again, cleanse your space beforehand and make sure that you're in a stable emotional state. Again, you might take a picture of you both together. You could attach it to the middle of the string with tape, or even take solo pictures of you both and tape them at opposite ends. You can make this ceremony your own, and the more creative or personalized you make it, the more power it will have. Take a moment to ground yourself. Envision this cord that is tying you both together, and see this as a physical representation of what is happening in the astral or spiritual realm. Now, to sever it, you want to cut through this string and the photo of you both, if you've taped it in the center, as that represents the attachment the two of you have together. You can use scissors, a dagger, athame, knife, even the flame of a candle to break this energetic attachment. This is a nice simple one, as you technically just need a piece of string and something sharp. I recommend disposing of the string in the trash and then dabbing some protection oil onto your body, saying a prayer of thanks to the universe for the lessons learned. Now we come to the visualization method. This is my personal favorite. You can indeed cut cords through mental visualization, no tools, no props necessary. I recommend you begin in your sacred space, somewhere that you feel safe and connected to the universe. Set the tone for the room to help yourself get into the right headspace. So you may want to have candles lit, perform some smoke cleansing prior, and bring your crystals close if they make you feel safer and ready to perform a working. Drop yourself into a meditative state. The deeper, the better. Take your time with this as you want optimal focus. Visualize yourself as your spiritual auric body. It can help to envision your aura like a bubble of light surrounding you. Now look for a cord. This cord is the energetic attachment. It often comes from our stomach, near the solar plexus chakra, but yours may be connected elsewhere, so don't take that as gospel. Think of it almost like an umbilical cord, and if you have seen the movie Donnie Darko, it's similar to how we see those big cords running out of him, but personally I find mine are much smaller than that. Now, this energetic cord connects you to this other person. Follow the cord and you'll likely now see their aura and their energy. For this type of work, distance and time do not matter. So you can do this effectively no matter where they are in the world, and even for someone who has died, but you still feel their influence. I want you to visualize how that cord looks. Is it strong? Is it dirty? Is it pink? Is it decaying? How does it look? How does it feel? Really spend your time visualizing what the cord connection looks like. Once you have a firm visual, you need to sever this cord. Some people like to physically do a cutting motion with their hand or with an athame through the air where they see this cord in their mind's eye. Others do it purely in their mind's eye. And the key with this one, it's a little bit different to the others, is to tell those cord ends where to go. So after being cut, those cords are flailing about in the middle of nowhere, and they can often reattach. So you want to imagine both ends being put into the ground, we call this earthing, with the intention that their cord will not connect back to you again. Now, I don't recommend pulling the cords out of you in that visualization. Some people do that. That's not my recommendation. Cut it, earth it. Now, we do need to talk about knowing if you're ready or not as well. So if you know you need to do this, but you are not quite ready to let this relationship go, you can take an extra step here and imagine a brand new cord going from you to this other person, except this new cord is healthy and it is flowing with a light pink or white light, full of good energy. This can work to repair a relationship, and sometimes it's not the best choice to completely cut someone out, so this step can help repair or buy you time if you're not quite ready. It just makes things a little bit less toxic. If you're definitely wanting to completely cut them off, cut that cord, pop it into the ground, and then close down your aura as you come back into yourself and come out of your meditative state. Now here is the thing. Once complete, do a little check-in to see how it feels to you. do you feel different? After a few days have passed, take note if anything has changed in your physical realm as well. If it was a really strong attachment, you may need to try this a couple of times, and that's okay. Same goes if your visualization skills are a little shaky. That is normal. It just depends on that energetic attachment that you have with that person. I will note as well that this can be a very draining ceremonial ritual to do. You may afterwards feel lighter, but in my experience, most people come out of this feeling like they need a nap. So make sure afterwards that you drink some water and eat some food. This is a dual purpose. It replenishes you and it also helps you to ground back into the physical realm with physical things like food and drink. Rest, take time, and take notice of the messages around you. It's my belief that the universe, our guides, our deities, spirits, ancestors, they're all communicating with us all the time. We just need to know how to look out for it. So take note of any messages coming through for you around this working. Now, the best moon phases for this work are during the full moon, the waning phases, or the dark moon. Of course, there are other ways you can do this and other variations on cord cuttings. If you don't want it to be a cord cutting, but you want to send someone's energy back to them and no longer hold on to that, there are ways you can do that as well. I have done that with writing their name on a piece of paper, burning that over a cauldron or a candle with certain herbs and certain sayings. And that can be good for multiple people or an organization or just people you've given your power away to. It's a little different to what I would call a cord cutting ceremony, but equally powerful as well. Now, one of the main questions I get asked with cord cuttings is, what if I have kids with the person I'm cutting a cord with? Okay. And also I get asked, can I do this on someone else's behalf? That sounded weird. Can I do this for someone else? So if you have dependents, children, with the person you want to cut a cord with, you can still do it, but you're not cutting the kids' cords to that person. It's just your attachment to them and their attachment to you. Remember, be prepared to just really not be affected by what happens to them, which can be hard if you've got kids and then suddenly don't care what happens to their parent. So it can be complex. Again, take it easy, take it slow. Do divination before you do any workings, right? Just double check this is the best option for the goal that you want. In terms of doing it for somebody else, I get asked a lot of, my friend's in a bad relationship, can I do this for them? You can, but should you is really the question here, right? So we need to take into account ethics and making decisions for other people. If they have asked you to, then yes. If they've come to you and said, I want to do it, but I don't know how, you can do it with them, you can offer to help them or do it for them. So that's okay, in my ethical opinion. If they don't know about it and you're making that decision because you don't like their partner for whatever reason, I don't think that's quite right. We need to have that discussion. It's always going to be more powerful if you do it yourself. And if someone doesn't feel comfortable, at least doing it with them there and them involved somehow can be more powerful than just you doing it for them. Another question is, can a cord cutting be done for a behavior or a pattern that you want to get rid yourself of? No. So cord cuttings are connections with people and like spirits and souls and energies in that manner. If you want to put a stop to a behavior or a pattern, there are other spell options that would work better depending on what they are. This is not one of them. Also, if you want to do more than one cord cutting, I would suggest you do them at different times. Otherwise, you will exhaust yourself. Have a break with at least a couple of days, but if not, like if you can, wait a lunar cycle in between. So I really hope that this helps you, and I wish you all the luck in the world in stepping into a place of better, safer, and healthier alignment for you. If you still need help, you're not sure whether this is the right step to take, you can contact me. I have offerings for this, so I can help you with a guidance call. There's 30-minute and 60-minute options. That's a call, one-on-one with me. I can do the divination for you. I can help you craft it. We can do it together. The guidance call is basically me there guiding you with whatever you need help with. So I can walk you through the ritual, hold energetic space as you perform it, help you pick the best timing as well. But I hope this gives you a little bit of information to take back your power and your control in a situation. Next week on the podcast, I will be chatting with Blue Cameron about astrology for your business. So definitely stay tuned for that one. It's going to be amazing. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world today. Don't forget to rate the podcast and review it if you can, and I will chat with you next time.